Rain, floods, and cancel culture strikes again. This is Into the Chicane, an episode we didn't want to have to make. As it was announced, what was it, Wednesday?
Yeah, Wednesday was official.
Wednesday morning, the FIA had officially canceled the Emilia Romagna Grand Prix 2023 because of intense flooding in the area.
Yeah, it's like you can't even have catastrophic weather without getting canceled these days.
I know. The freaking libs. Snowflakes and just overly sensitive people.
I don't know what to say.
What is this world coming to?
We need a moment of silence right now for this race. What could have been?
We would have been watching qualies today. Instead, we're doing not even an emergency podcast. We knew this was coming. They decided to cancel the race. I don't know if anybody has seen what the weather's like over there. The track itself, they've been able to maintain, right?
Yeah, there's some parts of like the facilities, some parts of where like the teams had
the paddocks.
Yeah,
a
paddocks.
little bit flooded.
Yeah.
But word is that by the time it would have come to what would be tomorrow, when the race would have been airing, I don't know. We'll probably get this out by then, but they probably wouldn't have been able to clear the paddock and the team access area. But that's not the issue. The issue was that it was flooding throughout the city and the infrastructure of Imola, which had been complained about in years prior, that the city didn't have the right infrastructure to facilitate what could be a massive flood or any sort of a disaster. The city itself has been overrun. So it's not the fact that they can't run the race because the track or the facility itself, the concourse, all that is too overrun. They could clear that out, and the tires and the cars would be able to withstand it, but the city won't be able to withstand the influx of traffic, all the people surrounding it. And then if there were any sort of a disaster on track, they wouldn't want any emergency services to be pulled away from the city.
Yeah, I mean, just in general, for the whole event weekend, there would be requiring some support from the city, just security and all that kind of stuff. And right now, it's not the best time.
Yeah, every bit of municipal effort and person on hand that they have needs to go to the city, and it makes sense. It sucks. I'd rather be watching qualies and be excited to watch the race today, but it makes sense that they had to cancel this. It's the right call.
Yeah.
If you saw the videos, the city is actually like literally flooded. It flooded so bad that it required the efforts of possibly the laziest F1 driver, if not on the grid today, but of all time. Yuki Tsunoda volunteered his efforts to clean up. He was out there shoveling.
Yeah, he actually lives there, which is part of why he was still there. He lives in Emilia Romagna, and so he and a few other like crew members from AlphaTauri team were just like there scooping up mud and helping people kind of clear out their homes and their walkways and stuff. And it was kind of cool to see, it was like, it's kind of endearing,
that's probably so much like of an effort from Yuki to get out of any sort of a training session.
Yeah, he'd rather do that than go and like do his little neck muscle exercises.
100%. He was just pulling the wool over the team's eyes. They need my relief efforts. I'm the only one that can help.
Did you see Nick DeVries's posts?
I didn't. Other than the extremely awkward Mercedes post, I didn't actually look into any team or driver posts.
So Nick DeVries was just like trying to get home, and he like got stranded like on the side of the road. There was like roads was like washed out, and he had to have like help from some like local people to help him just like get through and get home. Yeah, so it's kind of a scary thing for a lot of people in the area, and it was nice to see F1 make like what seemed to be like the right decision for once.
Yeah.
So
like I said, it's a bummer, but it's the right call. It does. I think it brings up a good point of like the F1 scheduling, the way that they do things. They know that Imola is going to be raining this time of year. I don't know if it rained last year, but it definitely rained 2021. And when it rains there, it literally pours. And that city is not set up, doesn't have the infrastructure to support both of these things at once. It can't support a mass flood, and it can't have a giant event in the town. So why are they continuing to schedule this race early on in the year when they know that they're going to get that? It's the same as, same thing happened in Spa.
Mm-hmm.
They know what the weather is like in those areas at that time of the year. It constantly rains in Spa there. They got rained out 2 years ago.
Yeah, it's tough. I mean, especially as the number of races increases each year, it gets harder and harder to work those things out. But
the drivers have been complaining about that a lot. Max Verstappen's even gone on record and said, if they continue to do this and the scheduling stays like this, where they're flying all over the world and the Grand Prix aren't kind of compact and concise regionally where they should be. Like, I think we have Canada coming up in the next few months or so before they go back to Europe, just to come back to North America to do Austin, to do Mexico, Brazil, and then they go back to Europe, and then they come back to North America for Vegas, and the drivers are like, what the fuck are we doing?
Yeah, it's kind of insane, the schedule. And I know that it's something that they, especially for future seasons, take into consideration, especially when they're trying to meet certain climate measures and stuff, and trying to cut down on emissions and all that kind of stuff. So with all that being said, who knows when we'll actually get to see a schedule that makes more sense. I feel like there's so many things at play. You got to deal with promoters, dealing with schedules of the venues and all that kind of stuff. But
yeah, there's a lot that goes into putting it on. It's not as easy as just saying, well, we're F1, we decide when we want to come here, because there's a bunch of other series that bring in, maybe like over the accumulation, they might bring in more money for the track itself than F1 does for their one weekend, so they have to take all that shit into account. But it's a bummer. How do you feel about it being canceled?
I mean, it sucks, but it's fine with me. Yeah. I think it's the right decision, and it's kind of lame that there won't be like rescheduled this year. It'll just be like one less race that's on the schedule, but yeah, it is what it is. We'll see it next year. Yeah,
I'm glad they did it early on in the week too, when they made the call. What was it, Wednesday morning, right?
Yeah, well, because I think all the drivers and all the, a lot more personnel start to show up Wednesday, Thursday. So
yeah, and it was one of the safety advisors of the region, like some government weather official was like, we need to cancel this, and once that guy made it like a point to say that it should be done, then the FIA was like, all right, we'll follow, what the scientist has to say.
Yeah. So I don't know if you remember last year at the Miami GP. Seb had the T-shirt where he said Miami Grand Prix first GP underwater. Yeah. Yeah. Well, looks like
Imola beat him to the punch.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's a bummer. It would be nice if they replaced it with something, but it's not gonna.
We already have 21 races. So 22 this year.
What really sucks is that we already had taken like a month or so off. And then we got one race, and now we have another.
It's only
3 weeks since, but then we'll have a back-to-back run with Monaco and then Spain. But
all right. So here's a question. So this weekend we were supposed to see upgrades from Mercedes, right? Big upgrades, right? Upgrades that are going to fundamentally change the characteristics of the car. How much of an increased risk do you think there is for like crashes now for Mercedes drivers at Monaco? Already like a historically like
difficult track.
They're going to be having to learn how to drive this new car without much.
They're still they're going to get their practices in. They're going to get their sim time in. I don't know. I feel like everybody drives so like reserved in Monaco anyways. I mean, if anybody's going to get into trouble, it's going to be George. I can't let off that.
But it definitely inhibits them, right?
Probably. But at the same time, like Monaco is so its own thing. Like I could see them completely being fine and not really getting in a whole lot of testing, quote unquote, because of the track itself. They're really going to have to figure this car out more in Spain, I think, because they're not going to be able to open it up.
Yeah.
I think the top speed in Monaco was like 125, 135.
That's it?
At best. Yeah, they don't get that high because it's so tight and so much cornering there that they don't really get full use out of it. And it sounds like
not as many streets.
Because their aero is what they're really focusing on. So they're really not going to get a feel for that. It's more that's more of like a karting race for them, They could probably all just hop in any car and feel their race out. Saturday's always going to matter there most. What was I going to say about in regards to Imola? I think I had called this as being a wet race to begin with, but I don't think I get the point.
That was already it was already kind of well known that they were going to have some weather.
Yeah.
This weekend, but to this degree, it was a surprise. But.
Yeah, I knew that it was going to be a lot because it was predicted. The weather report was Friday, Saturday, Sunday, and then I think even through Monday. But I didn't think it was going to be this bad. I don't know if anybody, outside of whatever their national weather service is over there knew that it was going to be this bad, but I don't know.
I mean,
there's a couple other series that you can watch.
That just reminded me. So there's some people that were trying to get organize a F1 22 race with all the drivers and have it streamed on Sunday.
An F1 22?
Yeah, so everybody playing the video game, but that didn't end up. But Team Redline, Max's team or whatever, they ended up setting up an event. So I think Max is going to be participating with some other people in the sim race this weekend.
Really?
I think it's either Saturday or Sunday. Let me see.
I wouldn't be surprised if Chuck took part in that, Alex and Lando.
Yeah, the big streamer boys.
Yeah. That's cool. Good on them. I've never tuned into any sim racing ever. I know Max is really big on that, and that's I was talking about he had said that he's not interested in staying in F1 if they keep this schedule up. I think he might go into either like Le Mans into endurance racing, or he might just stick with sim racing.
Or just a mixture of both,
Yeah, he could do both. I mean, it doesn't require much to do sim racing.
No.
But it looks like, if they keep raining shit out and flying drivers all over the world at ridiculous paces,
yeah,
he might be tapping out soon.
Yeah, but other than that, there's F1 TV. They're premiering the 2005 Imola GP and the 2021.
2021, I think, is taking place as we speak right now. They're
on
premiering
YouTube,
them live.
Yeah. Trying to placate people a little bit.
Yeah, other than that, there's not a whole lot of news that's come out this week, right?
No, it's all been kind of centered around this. No other real stories.
Let's talk about that Mercedes interview. You sent it to me. It was just Lewis talking, and then somebody had zoomed in on George's face, and it was so awkward looking.
Yeah.
Him just nodding in agreement and not saying anything. And I thought it was funny because we've had so many arguments on this show with people online commenting about whether or not George is like the number one driver at that team. But that video right there kind of proved it to me that he was just hanging on every word that Lewis was saying and just nodding in agreement.
Yeah, I mean,
it's off-track antics. It doesn't actually count for anything, but like mentally,
it was just funny to watch.
Who's kind of like the premier voice on that team is still Lewis.
Yeah, I mean, it's not the same type of racing, but we also have Indy 500 qualifying this weekend.
Yeah, and I think this is day 2 for their qualies today. They did Fast Friday yesterday. I don't even know exactly how their qualifying works because I know that it's like an extended grid because you can just pay your way into the Indy 500.
Yeah.
And as long as you qualify for it, you're able to make the grid. And I know that they do extended rounds of qualifying more than like a day. I think it lasts weeks, if not like a month or so.
There was I should find it. There's a clip that popped up from a few years ago when Fernando Alonso Indy 500.
Oh, shit.
Alonso, they got bumped out because they on the setup sheet they used metric units instead of imperial, so they had like something with their setup was wrong. So they ended up like
they didn't give it full power.
I don't know exactly. I have to look into a little bit more, but they the McLaren team messed up.
That's hilarious.
Yeah.
And they were probably favoring him because he is only used to metric.
Yeah, so he ended up only qualifying 34th and didn't make it into the Indy 500. I don't know what year this was, but
that's funny. I know he tried it like 2 or 3 times.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't. I was about to say that I don't think he'll ever get the Triple Crown, but maybe once his once his time in F1 is up with Aston Martin, I think he should just focus on IndyCar. He could do it. There's a bunch of older guys over there. There's Scott McLaughlin.
Scott
Dixon. Who's the Brazilian? Helio Castroneves. There's a bunch of older guys. And Castroneves won it, if not last year, the year before? Year before last, because Ericsson won it last year. Yeah, well, not much to report on. A lackluster pod for a lackluster weekend, I guess.
Hey, we're saving it up for next week.
Yeah, put all our eggs in that basket. We go to Monaco, which is not my favorite race, but we have to be hyped for it because it's all we got.
It'll be fun. There'll be some drama. There's always some kind of drama happening.
Either way, it's Monaco.
We could see another red flag in quali, either intentional or unintentional.
That's starting to be, I mean, they're taking pages out of Michael Schumacher's book, you know. That's starting to be like the bar for Monaco. Checo did it last year.
What do you mean that's the bar for Monaco?
For people sabotaging other drivers' fast laps in qualifying.
Okay.
I mean, quote unquote, Checo did it. Schumacher was the first one to do that.
Okay.
I think other drivers have done it there.
And I've seen that happen, or this come up a couple times already this season when Charles has gone out in qualifying, causing a red flag. Should your fastest lap be taken away if you caused a yellow or red flag in qualifying?
Ooh. That is a good question. I think they would have to do a deep review of whether or not it was, you know, like completely intentional. Like,
I mean, they're already doing that. Like, they would already, like, if you did, if they assume, or, you know, suspect you did something intentionally, they're gonna like investigate.
If there was a review board and they could give any shadow of a doubt that you actually did intentionally cause a yellow or a red flag in the session, then maybe. There was I was watching a clip the other day of Fernando Alonso. I forget what track it was at, and he went into the pit, and he stayed in the pit with Lewis behind him getting fresh tires, and they had released him, but he stayed in the pit lane, and Lewis was stuck and couldn't get out. Fernando got out just in time to get his fast lap in, and Lewis didn't make it, and then they took Fernando's pole position away. Made him start sixth. Have you ever seen that?
No, I missed that.
Yeah. But, I mean, that's a similar situation. He impeded somebody else's lap.
Yeah, I mean, I think that would be fair, right?
Yeah, if it wasn't like a racing incident on track, I could see something like that being...
Yeah, or, you know, if you are just, say you're Charles pushing a little bit too hard and you cause a red flag, causing other drivers to, like, not get their qualifying in, like...
Mm-hmm. He just did that. What race did he just do that
The
at?
last race.
Was that Miami?
Yeah. Yeah, where he...
No, Checo started pole in Miami.
I know, but Charles, even though he didn't qualify great, he still caused a red flag that screwed up Max's run.
But he did that recently where he got pole.
Oh yeah, I know what you're saying. Yeah, he did.
Was that Baku?
Maybe.
Yeah, wow, he's really...
I mean,
causing a lot of trouble.
It's something to think about.
Yeah, I think that could be a pretty good rule to put in place. But anywho, we have no race this weekend. Yeah, I don't know what else to say about it. I'm just bummed.
Hey, well,
I was looking
after this,
to it.
we'll go watch 2005 and see Alonso and Schumacher fight it out, and you know, see a nice little battle.
Yeah, and we'll see you guys pre-Monaco.
Ciao.
Ciao. Ciao bella.